Jamie, the top 3 quarterbacks to get are
Matt Ryan, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Marcus Mariota.
Matt Ryan, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Marcus Mariota. Do you consider any of them season-long plays, or these are just 1-week replacements?
I would hope you don't have to start them season long, that your situation is better, but I would rather have the top 2 guys at this point than Matthew Stafford and Russell Wilson. Ryan, again, now top 2 in pass attempts for the season, I think has some staying power. And Garoppolo, if this defense continues to struggle, will probably have some staying power as well. So, and Mariota's not awful. I mean, he finally had the breakthrough game over 20 fantasy points, and he's been running over 50 yards rushing his last 2 weeks. So if you're going to get that as a floor, that's a pretty nice floor. So, yes, I think there is some staying power, certainly in 14-team leagues.
Would you drop Jared Goff for Matt Ryan?
I like Goff this week, so I don't necessarily think I'd make that. To me, it feels like a lateral move. So Goff, as we've seen, has a higher ceiling.
You like Goff against the Cowboys?
I don't mind Goff against the Cowboys. I think you're going to see, this offense continue to put up points. This is the type of scenario I think that favors him, because I think the Cowboys are going to put up points. So I think that he will score. But no, I like Ryan better this week. But rest of season, I think again, going back to the Colts conversation, as they start to normalize a little bit with their run game, Goff is going to be a lot of shootouts.
Matt Ryan has such a good matchup this week. Tennessee, most yards per attempt allowed, 30th against quarterbacks. They've allowed multiple touchdown passes to a quarterback in every game, including to Matt Ryan. All right, Dave, the top running back priorities are?
Latavius Murray, number 1. Kenyon Drake, number 2. Before you even look at those guys, double check to see if Deion Jackson's available. Not that he's a lock to play this week, but if Jonathan Taylor sits again, Deion Jackson's a must start. So those would be the first 2. I guess Mike Boone is number 3. I didn't like a lot of other running backs this week. So it's not really a great list. It's an old list. It's old balls list with Murray and Drake at the top. Well, Jackson at the top.
There's a chance Philip Lindsay enters the discussion at some point too.
Sure, because Jackson left in the 4th quarter. So I mean, there are a lot of moving parts in that Colts backfield. Absolutely true.
All right, Jamie, top wide receivers.
Alec Pierce would be 1, Rondale Moore would be 2, and Wan'Dale Robinson would be 3. Just some other guys if you like to go a different direction. Josh Reynolds would be 4 for me. I put Josh Palmer 5 just in case Keenan Allen stays out again. We saw a little revival for him last night against the Broncos. And then Darnell Mooney right after that.
How come you don't have Mooney higher?
Because I've seen enough of sample sizes Bears offense that, Mooney's getting better. Fields is getting better. But you also have Fields with a shoulder injury now. So if he is out for whatever reason, I can't imagine that Darnell Mooney is going to benefit.
I think he might.
They have a pretty tough schedule. They have the Patriots and Cowboys next, which is kind of a bummer.
I agree. It's tough, but you laid out the negatives for Alec Pierce, and Rondale Moore doesn't have a very high ceiling. I'd put Mooney ahead of Moore. I'm not ready to do Mooney ahead of Pierce. I like Pierce, Mooney, Moore as my top 3. Wan'Dale right behind him.
Yeah, the thing about, at least I like about the Cardinals, I don't see changing. Again, another team is going to throw the ball a ton. The Bears are certainly not going to be that.
They're the opposite.
You're getting what we saw last week. I hate to say it, but it might be the ceiling for Darnell Mooney.
How about where are we at? Tight ends. Dave, if you have a second, if you could look up IDP. I should have asked you earlier. I'm sorry. Jamie, you can take us through tight ends, DSTs, and kickers. Let's go to tight ends.
Let's go with the revenge game. Evan Ingram gets the Giants. He's got 5 catches or more in back-to-back games, so hopefully that continues. And Marvin Jones being banged up, I think, helped him a little bit. Daniel Bellinger second, and then K-Dot in third. It doesn't sound like Cameron Brate's playing anytime soon, and so we saw what K-Dot was able to do 2 games ago when Brate got hurt. With the receiving corps still being a little banged up for the Bucs with Julio Jones not there, I think Otten has some staying power. So those will be the top 3 guys there. The DST streamers, it's not a bad week. I hope, again, you listened to us last week when I said the Patriots were number 1. Their schedule is fantastic. They get the Bears this week. Bears will be 1. How about the Jets at number 2? Their DST has been...
Patriots are 1. Patriots are 1.
Patriots
are 1. You said Bears, yeah. Patriots are 1.
Patriots get the Bears.
Yeah, you said both, but I just want to clarify. Patriots are number 1.
Patriots would be 1. Mm-hmm. If they're not available, the Jets, they get the Broncos, which feels like a layup at this point. The Titans, I know their defense hasn't played well, but Matt Ryan has still been turnover prone. I actually get 5 this week. The Giants get the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence has been a little turnover prone. And the Broncos, DST, despite the fact that their offense has been miserable, their defense has still been great, keeping teams under 20 points per game. there. The kickers, Brett Maher, Dustin Hopkins, assuming he's healthy, Graham Gano, Chase McLaughlin, and Greg Zerline.
Man, are the Jets going to beat the Broncos?
Yep.
Go
The
5-2.
Jets are steamrolling people. You know,
Dave,
it's funny. I'm going to ask AJ Dillon this. Everybody's panicking about the Packers, their last 2 losses, back-to-back losses. They lost to what is now looking like some pretty good teams with the Giants and the Jets in back-to-back weeks.
I don't know. I think I could maybe buy it more with the Jets than the Giants. I don't think they should
not have lost those games. But again, those teams look a lot better than what it was expected to be prior to the season.
Yeah, they're 9-3. It's wacky. They're definitely better than we thought. Dave, you got any IDP for us?
Got a bunch. The best linebacker is Alex Anzalone, who's coming off the bye, has at least 8.5 PPR points if you're giving a half point for assisted tackles in 2 of his past 3 games, and the Lions get run on a lot, so he should get a bunch of tackles. There's a lot of good defensive backs out there. Tariq Woolen has been making plays for Seattle. How about 11.5 points in each of his past 3 games? Richie Grant for Atlanta has been putting up some decent numbers. Grant Delpit in Cleveland. Kyle Duggar might be my favorite or second favorite guy on this list with Woolen. And he's got Chicago this week. He's probably going to be my favorite. So I saved the best for last with DBs. And one defensive lineman, Jonathan Allen in Washington, has at least 11.5 fantasy points in 2 of his past 3 games, 6 or more. 6 is pretty good for a defensive lineman in leagues where tackles count. That's in 3 of his past 4 and all but 2 games this year.
Yeah, I wonder with a guy like Kyle Duggar, if for IDP, we don't have to talk about this too long, if you actually fade them against the Bears because they don't throw very much. No, but
he's a tackler too.
Okay, well that's good then. He
doesn't have a lot of. He had 8 tackles last week against Cleveland, 5 the week before.
He was good last season too.
Yeah, okay. I think he's a pretty good player.
Let me recap here. Top 3 quarterbacks: Matt Ryan, Jimmy Garoppolo, Marcus Mariota. Running backs: Latavius Murray, Kenyon Drake, and then maybe Mike Boone. Check on Deion Jackson, maybe Phillip Lindsay as the week progresses. Wide receiver: Alec Pierce, Rondale Moore, Wan'Dale Robinson, Josh Reynolds, Josh Palmer, Darnell Mooney. Dave much higher on Darnell Mooney than Jamie is. Tight end: Evan Ingram, Daniel Bellinger, Cade Otton. TSTs: the Patriots, the Jets, the Titans, the Giants, and the Broncos.
Just two things, because again, we talk about a different threshold than some other sites may have. Obviously, if Deion Jackson's still available, given the situation, he's at 66% on our site, which probably means he's lower on some other sites.
Yeah,
I'd make him the #1 priority running back, just because if he is healthy and Taylor and if Taylor and Hines are out, then you saw what he's been the last 2 weeks, at least 13 PPR points in both games. And then at tight end, Robert Tonyan, because he's at 66% also. Clearly, he's been building towards something the last 3 weeks, and you saw what he was capable of doing now, especially with Randall Cobb out. There could be some bigger games.
Rogers trusts him a lot.
Yeah, listen. All right, so shallow leagues: Deion Jackson, Robert Tonyan, but also Michael Gallup, Tyler Boyd, clearly getting more involved. Let's certainly look for Tua and Dak on your waiver wire. See if they're available.
And Goff.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that you like Goff this week against Dallas. You're so good.
I don't like him in the sense that he's a must-start quarterback. I'm looking more long-term with Goff. And so I would not be surprised if Goff is what he's been in some tough matchups, which is 18 fantasy points. But I also think you're looking what he could be long-term, especially if Amon-Ra's back and healthy and Jameson Williams coming down the road. This defense is terrible. So a lot of shootouts coming.
Don't forget about DeAndre Swift coming back. That might happen this week, and that would also help Goff. Dallas, Miami, Green Bay are the next 3 games for the Lions.